video is going to be so challenging to edit because my camera keeps overheating. So yeah, the anger that you can be exposed to, I think when people choose to misperceive you, I think when you go through, and you have to look at it from the law of contrast as well, so I am going to bring that element into it, I think, where necessary and the right kind of level. But I think when you heal and you know yourself and you know your sense of self, and you can stand up in your sense of self and be like, yes, I'm proud of the person I am because I've worked on myself. A lot of people that haven't done that work will become threatened by it, especially if they have a personality disorder. So you have to look at it from that level of contrast. If you are in your element, living your best life, setting your boundaries, knowing when to say no, knowing how to manifest what you want into your life, knowing how to do the little things to keep yourself happy. And that's not about being the biggest, baddest wolf in the pack. That's about doing the little things that keep you satisfied and healthy as a person and thriving as a person. Do you know what I mean? Not just being healthy, but thriving and really prioritizing, you know, yourself and making sure you are getting your best elements and your best experience, like people should and deserve to do. When other people see that, in a sense, I like to think, you know, set a good example for other people. But people can often turn on you if they don't know how to do that work, or they're not in a position to do that work or whatever. People will attack that. And then I've found this at school as well, actually. I think especially when people have an unstable sense of self, and this can come from like having like undiagnosed, you know, UPD, unstable personality disorder, which was borderline personality disorder, they choose to misperceive you. And I think it's one thing having narcissistic people kind of choose not to acknowledge you, but aside from that, I think a lot of people will on that other element of like what they now call UPD, but what was BPD, can you shut the door a bit? Like choose to dismantle or attempt to dismantle your sense of self, or dismantle the things that make you feel good about yourself. But the power that you have in that is to say that, like, when you heal that within yourself, when you grow within yourself in these elements, and empower yourself in all the aspects that is, you know, aligned and healthy and kind of divine essence within yourself. When you have that spiritual awakening, I definitely had this spiritual awakening where I was like, we are all divine essence, like we should all be living in our divine element. Do you know what I mean? And I think when I've had that spiritual awakening, now when people work on this different level, I will simply see it as other. Do you know what I mean? I don't see it as like, it's not a comparison to me. I don't think, oh, okay, well, I'm doing better than you, you're doing better than me. I think, well, obviously I kind of see that as a peripheral, but my real main element is you're not aligning with me right now, and obviously, you know, do better if you're going to bother me. But really, it doesn't bother me in a massive level. And I think that's a shadow element, to say that I think that's something that I've worked on within myself, though, where I'm like, I will not necessarily feel the need to get angry at someone that I perceive as behind in progress. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like when people do that, I think it's a massive trauma mechanism that I've seen for people that have like punitive parents and stuff. They feel the need to, when punitive parents attack a person, it's very much like lots of parents will try and instill in their children, especially in Pisces, where we have, I spoke about in my last video, this very, very much like banterous, you know, this very much like Jupiter elements, I think, that comes about to sort of put people in this sort of like illusional state. So it's to be like, you know, you might not, the parent might very well know that they may not need to have that much strictness in their life, but it will happen anyway. Like they will bring that about anyway. And just to not zoom in too far onto these elements, just saying people can be over the top and implant things in their children that they don't necessarily need, and then other people then try and do that on other people. And I noticed this is a big theme, and I probably have engaged in myself, and probably do to some degree still engage in myself, but as I say, I don't make that choice to attack other people through it, you know, where it's not necessary. I think my shadow aspects, as far as I'm currently aware, are that, well, you know, I know how to prioritise myself to the point where, like, when people are outside of my experience, I don't, until a point, I cross a point to make me get triggered and upset, but that's the shadow work that I'm talking about, to be honest. Because on an interpersonal basis, I find in this astrological era, it's because you do work for yourself, there is many levels that you have to meet and get through, and hoops to jump through in order to actually have a personal interaction with a person.